Hello everyone, I'm Ashley Weaver and I'm a crop insurance specialist with Farm Credit Mid-America. I cover the Mansfield, Worcester, and Oberlin offices and thought it was important that I share a newer product with you. Today, I'm going to share with you the margin protection policy that not only mitigates yield and price risk, it also protects you from most of the risk associated with your input costs increasing between when you make your planting decisions and when you actually buy and use your inputs. This highly subsidized shallow loss product that can pay $1.20 for every dollar of loss is an amazing new financial technology that we are going to want to consider for next year's crop. It helps leverage opportunities and mitigate risk better than any other subsidized product on the market for those with yields that track the county. These are Farm Credit Mid-America's foundational business principles. These principles are why we believe margin protection can help us put in place a price floor very early in the planning stages for next year's crop on all your anticipated acres. Establish minimums that cover as many of your input costs as possible, and leave open the option of leveraging opportunities if the market rallies. Here are Farm Credit Crop Insurance's fundamentals of risk management. Understanding margin protection will help us better understand your exposures and create a decisive plan that we will execute when the time is right. Costs are so high relative to safety nets that there is no way to save our way into prosperity. We have to focus on leveraging opportunity and making money. That is why we help customers document their minimum revenue and price goals throughout the year. The revenue formula is pretty simple. Yield times price equals revenue. Revenue plans help you cover risk associated with yield and price drops. The guaranteed market price times your approved yield times your coverage level is your revenue guarantee. But what's missing? Your input cost. What happens if you grow your approved yield and the crop insurance final price equals the February average, but the cost of fuel, fertilizer, and your operating loan interest are all higher than you expected? The answer is you still suffer a loss because while you exceeded your revenue protection crop insurance guarantee, your input cost increases ate you alive. The margin formula takes these into consideration. Margin protection, or MP, is an area-based plan and uses the same harvest price as RP and SCO, or supplemental coverage option. MP offers coverage up to 95%. Our belief at Farm Credit Mid-America is that if an area plan is good for your operation, you should take advantage of all it has to offer. If the area plan is not a good fit with your operation, then we need to stay as far away from it as possible. Another very nice option available to us with MP is the ability to purchase an underlying base policy with the individual coverage such as an RP policy. And you get a premium credit applied to your MP premium when you do. What we have seen is you can add an 80 or 85% RP individual plan of coverage for little additional cost because you get a premium credit for the duplicative risk covered by both policies. Another advantage for the underlying RP policy is the replant and prevent plant coverage. Additionally, MP can pay $1.20 for every dollar of loss. When you have a loss, you need the revenue. Unlike what people have done with the RP policy, which has been trying to save money by buying down to lower coverage levels, we do not want to make that mistake with an area plan of coverage. With this in mind, we will be exclusively looking at the 95% 120 level of coverage. You will also notice when you stack your RP policy with an MP policy, you get the greater of the indemnities associated with those policies. Occasionally, that may result in you receiving a portion of the total indemnity in the fall, near harvest, and the rest of the indemnity payment the following summer when the final county production yields are published by RMA. So now we're going to jump into our indemnity calculator to look at a couple scenarios to see how margin protection would work. What I have pulled up here is for the 2020 crop year, the crop that is currently planted in the ground. Farmers that are taking advantage of this would have made the decision last fall to purchase the MP policy. I picked Richland County, but know that all the counties would work the same. The only difference would be the county yield. So if we look at corn, you'll see that the expected county yield for Richland County for 2020 was 177. So we'll leave the final county yield the same, even though we won't know what that is until next year. The projected price for corn was discovered last fall, and that is set at $4.03. Our harvest price is being discovered right now, so it's tracking the averages of the December futures. So those today are at $3.45. You'll notice that some of the input costs, the prices are the same for the projected and harvest. That is due to COVID. During the discovery periods, the markets weren't available, so those are set the same for this crop year. It's also important to note that these values will not match what your input costs are. The values used in margin protection were derived from working with Ohio State University during the development process. Your actual individual input costs do not impact whether or not you have a claim. So if we just hit calculate, it will show us what the expected indemnity is for corn in Richland County for 2020. So you'll see that people with this policy are expected to receive $67 as an indemnity. And we can compare that to a revenue policy here. If we have your approved yield and say that you grow an average crop, our spring price for 2020 was set in March, and that's at $3.88. And then the harvest price is again looking at the December futures, and this will match the MP harvest price. So if we compare that to RP, so we can see that with an 85% RP policy, you're still $27 short of an indemnity. And then we can take a look and see what 2021 would look like. So we will leave everything the same. The expected county yields were updated last week, and you'll notice that for Richland County, this didn't change. There's actually quite a few counties in Ohio that their expected yields did not change from 2020. Our projected prices are being averaged right now, so our price is averaging around $3.75 for corn, and you can see the rest of the input costs here. Our harvest price for 2020, we can make a speculation as to what, or 2021, sorry, as to what that would be. So if we, as a country, we have a good corn crop and we have a lot of inventory next year and a decent growing season, we could see this go to $3.40. So if we calculate that, it will show us what 2021 could look like. So you can see this would be around a $34 indemnity if these numbers played out. And then again, we can compare it to RP. So you have your average yield and you produce an average crop. Our spring price would be set next March. So this could be $3.65. And then our harvest price would match MP at $3.40. So if we compare the RP policy with an 85% policy, you're still $52 short of an indemnity. So you can see just having the margin protection, it just helps close that gap that farmers are seeing with their guarantees on their RP policies. It's important for you to know the details of margin protection now because the deadline to purchase margin protection for 2021 is September 30th. If you have questions or you would like to go through different scenarios or see how margin protection would work on your farm, please get in touch with me. My contact information is on the screen, or you can just get in touch with your loan officer and they can get us in contact together. Thank you for your time today, and I hope you have a nice day.